Chris Hamlin, you're the Industry Group Vice President for Travel, Hospitality and Entertainment at Axiom. Thank you so much for joining me today to have a talk about what's been going on, but more importantly, to have a really kind of forward-looking perspective on some many issues that are affecting some of our travel brands as we go into the latter part of this year in 2022. So again, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Okay, so I think we can all kind of universally agree that in North America, where you are, and in Europe, less so, but there are glimmers of hope for the industry and its recovery strategies as we start to look at hopefully the tail end of the pandemic of COVID-19 that's been with us for the last 18 months now. But I think what's really important and what would be useful for you to kind of share with us and us to have a conversation about, Chris, is, we are starting to focus on what the opportunities are for this recovery period and beyond. I mean, I'm assuming you agree, but would have some perspective to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I would start by saying that, obviously there's been severe impacts from a customer and a customer marketing perspective to our travel brands. And, as a customer intelligence company, we at Axiom are working really hard to help accelerate our clients' recovery from the pandemic. And so much has been said about the challenges related to the pandemic, but, we're really encouraging our clients to see it as an opportunity, as they emerge from the challenges that we've had, is to really see that emergence as a unique opportunity to expand and reinvent their travel business from a customer marketing perspective. And in a sense, if you think about it, it's really presents a unique opportunity to do that. So we're kind of taking a positive perspective on it and saying, in a sense, the race is on, if that makes sense.
I mean, the messages that you're getting back from your travel customers are that they are thinking this is the period to start really honing our strategy about these opportunities for recovery. That's the kind of feedback that certainly we're getting, and I'm assuming that's what you're getting as well.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt that things have changed forever. Travelers' attitudes and habits have changed, and most likely that change is not temporary. It's more likely to be a long-term, if not permanent, type of a situation. And what we're recommending for our clients is that it's really important for the travel companies to take a move towards a concierge type mentality. And that is what I mean by that, is to really strive to better understand the new traveler, to kind of meet them where they are now. And that's all about their willingness and their desire to travel. And the key for that is to put the customer at the center. We always talk about, customer centricity and those kinds of things, but what we're talking about here is creating a truly customer experience that's truly, custom to that particular individual. And I know it's easier said than done, but there are some key actions that you can take that will speed your progress towards that goal.
Okay, so we'll come to some other specific tactics later on, but so one of the things that we're all very conscious about not dwelling on last year, because we've all spoken endlessly about it, and we all understand a lot about the outcome of how things unraveled and what people have been trying to do over certainly the last 6 to 7 months or so. But you could say getting out of that kind of pandemic hole and the mindset that was created through last year is really important. So what's your kind of perspective on that and some of those kind of early tactics that people should be thinking about?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's really important that we realize that people have changed, and those changes are permanent, like we were talking about. And concerns about health and safety, everybody's aware of that. Political changes, social justice, Zoom fever, the question about when will life return to normal. These are things that are circling around in our customers' minds all the time. Can I travel whenever I want, wherever I want? Do I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask? what what do I really need in terms of my life, and luxuries versus indulgences versus necessities. It's just those concerns are ever present in travelers' minds. And I think one stat I saw recently was that in 2020 it was almost 80%, I believe, people where they changed where they shopped and how they shopped. So it's a huge seismic shift in the way people look for travel experiences now. Another fact that I just saw recently was that in 2020 we had essentially 10 years of digital transformation in 10 months, because we had to adapt as providers, moving from a much more of a terrestrial world to a digital purchase kind of journey, much more so than we've had in the past. And frankly, the buyer journey has gotten a lot more fragile, a lot more erratic. The patterns are difficult to see if there are any. The buyer's easily distracted, interrupted from what's going on in their environment, whether it be in their home or in their office now a little bit more. And it's just very clear that the patterns have changed, and it's very hard for marketers right now to know what to do. And so that's why Axiom is here actually as a customer intelligence company.
Yeah, and I think it would be fairly fair to say, and we would be on pretty safe ground to say, that these changes, I mean, it's interesting because you mentioned that there's been 10 years worth of digital transformation happened in 10 months last year. I mean, it's fair to say, as I said, that's here to stay, isn't it? There isn't going to be some kind of winding back in of our digital activity and going back to, dare we say it, the old ways. Would you agree?
I would totally agree. And what's happened basically is people want things to be easier, not harder. Life has been very challenging over the last 18 months. And this has direct ramifications for customer experience, from a customer experience perspective. And, for example, I think we can all relate to this. I mean, for any brand that we're interested in talking to or buying from, that brand needs to know me. Really, they need to not just know me now, but know me later. And don't ask me to provide the same information over and over again. Let's get right to the heart of the matter. Let's make this a really good experience. Let's kind of evolve the relationship. Make it easier for me to do and get what I want right now. Remove the friction, the barriers for exploring my travel options, for buying, for just easy is good, convenient is even better.
Right.
And the important part is, I think, is that we need to again meet those customers where they are now. What's my help me get through my personal path to purchasing a travel experience. Understand me and try to do it in a real-time fashion, but don't make it creepy. And I want my interactions with your brand to be relevant, real time, but not invasive, I guess is the word I would use. So yeah. That's I think that from a customer experience perspective, it's really important that we take all of those kind of concepts to heart, and to really build and develop that customer experience for everyone. And that's what we do at Axiom, is to help to enable those things. And there's some ways that we suggest, some strategies to pursue that will help you to ultimately move from survival to what we call thrival.
Thrival, yeah, we'll come back to that in a minute, Chris. I mean, I'm quite interested. It's a ridiculously broad thing to ask, possibly, but how do you start trying to understand the new customer? If you are an airline, a hotel, a tour and activity provider, online travel agency, whatever kind of type of brand within the industry, how do you start to understand what this new customer is?
Right. I would say that, again, as a customer intelligence company, we have a lot of information and tools at our disposal, whereby we can help provide a very, from there's nothing better than first-party data. Your brand's own customer information is the most important. But then where Axiom comes in is the ability to help to augment that understanding. And it's a whole variety of things from I think several thousand data elements that we can offer to help augment your understanding of your customer, and much of that is available, in a real-time fashion as well. So, hopefully, what it does, it helps you paint a more accurate, timely, and comprehensive picture of your customer from truly knowing your customer. But ultimately, I think the goal here is to be able to take all of the assets that you have. That is all of the knowledge that you have and interactions that you have with the customer across all the touch points that your brand has, and to bring that together to create an accurate and unified view of your travel customer across all those touch points.
I'm curious. I mean, we're having this kind of conversation, and you're a very high-end technology company. We write about the travel technology side of things. I wonder sometimes, how geared up are some of these travel brands to do the things that you're kind of that we are discussing here, and in some of the services that you provide? Is there a lot of, in other words, is there a lot of educating that still needs to be done here, or do you sense very generally, and it's very difficult to talk generally, of course, that the industry is kind of ready for some of the tactics that you advise them to do?
Absolutely. Just in the last, I think it was the latter part of 2020, we surveyed a number of industry leaders and brands, and basically identified a whole series of strategies that these companies are employing, maybe not consistently, but are employing across for success, and being able to accelerate their recovery. And what we've done is basically taken that insight of what's working, what isn't working, and kind of distilled it, boiled it down to essentially 5 key strategies for accelerating recovery from the pandemic. And those are, of course, we can share those here, but also we can provide an ebook to share more details about that.
Okay, so maybe you came up with this word, and we're going to copyright it now if we're able to. You said it just a moment ago, thrival, which is an interesting one, because we've gone from a period where people were just trying to survive, let alone think about grow again. So talk to us specifically about surviving to thriving, or thrival, which is the word that you've kind of come up with.
Right. Yes, we've, as I said, we've been working very closely with our travel clients to help them, to speed their recovery, and we have offered kind of a point of view, and also a suggested set of best practices, and they really fall in 5 areas. And number 1 is, of course, and we've talked about this already, and that's the idea, is to strive to better know your customers. And the concept there is to create a accurate and unified view of the travel customer across all the touch points. And at the core of that is your, identity is the key to every interaction you have with your customers and your prospects. And if you get identity right, then that enables you to do rapid decisioning and being able to accurately and quickly identify and connect with people anytime, anywhere. And ultimately that leads to an improved customer experience, of course, and better results. Number 2 is to develop better customer insights. And it's, as we've stated, it's more important than ever to truly understand where the travel customer is in their buying journey. And that's not easy. I think everyone knows that there's a lot of challenges with that. But the thing to keep in mind is definitely you can't rely on previous knowledge of your travel customer, because what they are doing and thinking about and how they're acting this year is obviously very different than a year ago. And having, current, accurate, individual level insights is truly a game changer. And it will allow, again, enable that customer experience. And we were talking about enhancement just a few minutes ago, but the ability to expand your knowledge of your customers' interests, their needs, overall trends through enhancement. But also, I'd like to throw out that a lot of our travel brands are having great success in collaborating with partners to share information about what are some of the key trends that are going on in the marketplace. Just being able to fill in the gaps, so to speak, in their understanding about their customer base and even in terms of acquisition. Just anything that you can do to build that customer intelligence beyond your current view that you're losing.
Yeah, I think just a comment really, or a remark on something that you said that I think's been very interesting, and that is, very early on from the outset of the pandemic, there was a sense that we may get more collaboration now because, there is a slight sense that we are all in this together. And as you said just a moment ago, Chris, you are seeing more brands collaborating with perhaps, friends, enemies, or partners that perhaps they wouldn't have done in the past. I mean, presumably we would like that to continue beyond just this kind of pandemic recovery period.
Yeah, in the past, collaboration of that type has been largely experimental, and
Yeah.
There's been concerns of everything from privacy to competitive issues or concerns, and that's an area that Axiom really enables because of the fact that we can provide a safe haven for partners to share, without risk, in privacy compliant manner, and to build that collaborative type solution, if you will. So that's an area that we're very focused on, and we feel like is got to be part of the key to it's part of the key to understanding our customers better.
Yeah.
And I just want to make one other point on this customer and insights idea, and that is that it's really important, especially right now, is for travel companies to understand who's in market. That's the kind of the key, the holy grail, if you will, is to be able to see those hand raisers and to be able to know that they are about ready to make that purchase. Or so I would just throw out that another key aspect of understanding your customers is being able to identify those in market and kind of being able to create that customer experience in real time as they want it to happen. And then ultimately all of this provides the ability to do more relevant messaging, creating better products, travel products, understanding the market, having new insights. So
it's so last point then, Chris, really, I mean, it kind of leads quite nicely to this last kind of area that we can discuss, and that is this is ultimately about delighting the customer. So you can talk about that a little bit, but my kind of supplementary question is that, do you think it's easier or more difficult to delight the customer now in this kind of post-pandemic, mid-pandemic period, just because people are so eager to get back on the road again? So I'm not suggesting that it's going to be easier to delight the customer, but do you think it possibly will be?
I would say that it's not easier than it has been in the past. I mean, there's certainly a ton of challenges related to the things that we talked about that are much easier said than done. But because of the fact that much of the industry has become more digitally oriented, because there is an incredible pent-up demand for travel, there's a desire on both sides, and there's a mechanism by which we can create these customer experiences to be better and more effective than they have been in the past. And because if you truly do understand your customer in a broad and consistent way, then you have the ability to earn people's trust and create that real engagement, right? You get the ability to understand their concerns and you know, interact with them in a more personal and contextual way. And also, you know, we should touch on loyalty, but just quickly, you know, loyalty has been, you know, certainly taken a back seat in travel for the last year and a half or so. And so, you know, knowing that the customers have changed, you know, a key point I would just make is that that loyalty program, we can't assume that that loyalty program that motivated and enabled those interactions in the past is going to, it's got to evolve as well as our customers' needs are. And then finally, I just, you know, circling back to the idea of striving for a concierge mentality, you know, the goal there is obviously we need to surprise and delight every customer. And that's really only possible if you truly understand your customer and you meet them where they are now.
Yeah.
You know, the ultimate goal is to put all those pieces together that we talked about to create those ideal customer experiences. You know, it's got to be for every customer at the time they need it, and it's all possible though leveraging the foundational capabilities that we've been discussing here today.
Okay. Chris Hamlin, thank you so much. We'll put some links into the ebook that you talked about, and there's lots of other things that we're doing. So thank you again, Chris Hamlin, so much for talking to us, and we'll speak to you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.